Countdown to kickoff here at CycloneFanatic.com. We took a few weeks off from this because we had some stuff to get to, but Austen Arnaud and I are here today to move on. Texas Tech, the next game up on our schedule as we preview our way too early preview for the 2012.
Way too early.
Way too early, but that's what we do. That's what we do here at Fanatic.com. Texas Tech is on the schedule today. Rhoads, man, Paul Rhoads owns his old boss, Tommy Tuberville.
Owns him.
I mean, really just stuck it to the guy here a couple years in a row. Last year's win, you know, Oklahoma State and Iowa get so much credit as being, they're huge wins.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there was a more surprising, just the way Iowa State did it last year than going on and just spanking Texas Tech a week after they beat Oklahoma, who was the top-ranked team in the country.
Yep.
What is there something to that, or is about Rhoads owning Tuberville, Austin, or do you think it's just a coincidence that maybe Iowa State's got them on a good week a couple years in a row? How would you analyze that?
I think, you know, looking at last year's game, you come off of we just got badly beaten by Missouri. And it was a statement game. I mean, these kids were like, okay, we don't want to lose. We want to go to a bowl game. We're going to do this. And I think a little bit of that has to do with how Coach Rhoads prepares them for Texas Tech. I know that there, you know, in the past there has been recruiting wars between the two schools, and players have came here and gone there.
Who's that one guy who took the cheap shot last year?
Yeah, that's the kid who decommitted from Iowa State. Who took the cheap shot on Jared last year. I can't remember his name. He's irrelevant.
Yeah, he's irrelevant.
But I would say that Coach Rhoads and Iowa State has Tommy Tuberville's number, and there's no doubt about that. You look at my senior year; they came up to Ames, we beat them. You know, we scored 50-plus points on them. Then last year was just, I mean, it was not even a game. I mean, it was over it was over midway through the second quarter, and you know, it's just another thing that I think that we're going to build on this year. The game being in Ames again, I'm correct, right?
Correct.
And I don't see why Iowa State can't beat them again.
Big 12 opener this year for Iowa State. You mentioned Tommy Tuberville. Really, I think on the hot seat. I don't know if he'll get fired this year.
Couldn't agree more.
But when you factor in that Tech had gone to a bowl game 12 years in a row before last year's just epic meltdown after that Oklahoma win for Texas Tech. This is Texas we're talking about. These people care about their football.
Yes.
I think he needs to go to a bowl game this year, Tommy Tuberville. Now, here's the deal, though. I
don't think he needs to. I think he has to.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be.
That's a good point. That's a good point. 17 returning starters for Texas Tech, one of them being Sept, the quarterback. Looked pretty good at the early on last year.
Yes.
I think he, to be honest with you, Austin, I think he was really underrated, actually. I don't think a lot of those problems last year were Sept problems.
No.
How do you look at him as a
lot of their problems last year were defensive. I mean, they couldn't stop anybody to save their life. But you look at Sept, and he's a great player. He's one of those system guys at Texas Tech. You know, you have the
Cliff Kingsbury.
The Cliff Kingsbury on Graham Harrell, Taylor Potts. You have all those guys, and you have Sept, who's the same guy, prototypical. He's a little bit smaller than those guys, but he's your prototypical Texas Tech quarterback where your best defense against Texas Tech is to keep your offense on the field and keep their offense off the field. You got to have long time managing drives to keep that offense off the field because they are an offense, you know, like a Baylor last year or like a Oklahoma in the past where they can get hot and just rattle off 49 points straight, and you're looking at the scoreboard like, what just happened?
Another note on their offense, Eric Stevens, the running back, tore his ACL and his MCL in Game 5 last year. Looking for him to come back, but you're a guy who, you know, you've experienced that as a running back. I mean, we talk Adrian Peterson all the time. We're both Vikings fans, but he's kind of a super freak as far as an athlete goes. I mean, what do you anticipate from Eric Stevens this year?
Well, coming from me, you know, I wasn't. It's in at least a 9-month recovery process to be at least close to full speed. Now, as far as cuts and everything go, it's going to be. I mean, he's not going to be 100% when the season starts. There's no chance of that. And you know, maybe towards the latter part of the season, and if they get to a bowl game, he'll be closer to 100%. But the wear and tear of having to cut on that leg and being a running back and just being hit all the time is not going to bode well for him. And you know, unless he has the bionic man, he's going to have a tough time this year getting off to a great start.
I'd be worried about the running game if I'm Texas Tech.
Yeah.
One of his backups, name slips my mind, but he tore an ACL last year too. They got a lot of injuries there. They don't have the depth that, say, an Iowa State does at running back either.
Right.
Line should be better. Texas A&M transfer comes over. He'll play right away. Let's talk defense right now, Austin. The Tech, you mentioned how bad they were last year. Really lacked athleticism.
Yes.
Their linebackers were atrocious.
Yep.
They ran that 4-2-5 last year. New coordinator. They're moving to a 4-3. They got some JUCOs in there. They think they'll be better. You have anything to offer up on that?
I just find it hard, those schools that are offensive oriented, the Texas Techs of the world, the Baylors, they have a hard time defending, and that's nothing against their defensive coaches or their coordinators at all. But I just think there's so much more of an emphasis on offense in that program.
Absolutely.
That defense gets lost in the translation. You look at a team like Texas Tech, when's the last time they had a good defense? Maybe the year when Graham Harrell was a senior and Michael Crabtree was there, but they were able to outscore everyone.
Yeah.
You look at teams like Texas Tech on defense, and the JUCO players is not the answer. You get guys in there, hopefully that mesh, but it's hard to mesh JUCO players. The only person that can do that is Bill Snyder.
Bill, that's my boy, Wild Bill.
So to say that they have JUCO players coming in and they're in a new style defense, I don't think that's going to help them at all. You're running a brand new scheme. You have new players. There's going to be some growing pains on the side of the ball.
Well, a lot of people picking Tech above Baylor this year in their preseason picks. I don't see that at all. And I know you can talk losing RG3. They still have a lot of players in that Baylor system.
I think Tech and Kansas are the two bottom teams this year in the Big 12.
Okay. 17 returning starters, but if the guys don't play any better than they did last year, that doesn't really mean much.
You have a whole new scheme on defense. That's tough.
You heard Arnaud right here. I would tend to agree with you. And I don't believe that Tech is a better football team than Baylor, but we will see.
Nope.
There's our Texas Tech way too early preview. Coming up next on our way too early previews, our countdown to kickoff, we are going to talk about the TCU Horned Frogs. Are they ready for the Big 12? We'll see. Thanks for watching, everybody.